Era, on the corner, real talk corner.
Real Entertainment Network.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talking.
Iron Reese.
Dynamic duo,
Talk is still real. We still on the corner.
real talk
We
corner.
gonna touch on some topics.
It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, real talk. It's real talking, real talking.
Check it out, you know, in tune.
Camera fuzzy.
Yo,
Yeah, we
yo, yo, yo,
we
yeah.
live. We live.
Yes, people. Yes, people.
What's that?
Welcome back. Welcome back. We've been gone for some time, but we are back.
2 weeks. We were out for 2
Yeah.
weeks.
2 weeks are long stretch now.
Yeah.
2 weeks are long stretch, but that 2 weeks, a lot of things happening, you know.
Yeah, man. So
That 2 weeks, we see the music festival, all type of things happening, you know. So, you're able to see people, whether it's outside. The other side is we outside.
people are outside. People are outside, bro.
We see
Yeah,
people
people
outside,
outside.
you know. So,
Yeah.
it feels good to see people at least, you know, enjoying themselves and getting back to another form of normalcy, you know. But what about you, man? What's up with you, man? Yeah, you know, we didn't get to be outside.
Well, Reese, last week I was dealing with COVID. You know what I mean? Yeah, boy. The COVID catch me.
But yeah, man, no, really is that, you know. It was good to see that you're back and you're good and you're ready to go again.
I battled
You know.
it. I battled it.
It's a real fight, you know. It's a real fight, man.
I battled it. I had a very long fever. Fever must be about. Oops, I need to change this. I had a very long fever, man, maybe about 4 days or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whole family.
Yeah, man, you know, it's good to see that. It's good to see everybody back, you know, and everybody good again.
Yeah, man, we good. We good again.
That's all I'm at. You know, the body was able to fight it. It didn't require no ventilator, no hospitalization. You were able to heal and recover at home, you know, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I got to be thankful for that.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Definitely have to give thanks. As
You know,
you
and
know,
especially
with the
these
youths and
numbers, you
the
know.
wife.
We've seen these numbers and we've seen the number of people that would have passed away and stuff like that from the COVID-19 situation. So the fact that you're still here with us is a blessing, you know.
I must say, yeah. Yeah, it goes through the mind at times.
Definitely, no, definitely, and especially when you feel that moment where you feel real sick, the pop in your head, eh?
Yeah,
You know, that moment where you get your first positive test, you know, the pop in your head, and so
I
you know,
would
the fact that
say,
you're able to beat it, you know, that's a good thing.
I would say that there's moments when not certain if it wasn't for the little oxygen thing, I was like, am I losing my breath here? Am I having a hard time breathing, or is it just like nasal congestion, or whatever the case may be? It's a lot of things go through your mind at the point in time. So It's
No,
like,
definitely.
am I
And
suffocating here?
rightfully so as well, eh?
Yeah.
Rightfully so that it goes through your mind because it's the reality of life, and we have seen so many people fall victim to it that you have to keep it in the back of your mind. For those who say that oh, when I had COVID I didn't think about it, you're strong. You know, I
Kids, maybe
I would
yes.
have had my time. I had a little COVID, but they tell me I had COVID. I don't feel me had nothing.
Well, you're strong.
Yeah, I don't feel I had nothing because my symptoms was like the most backward symptoms ever to it. Because the only thing happened to me during COVID is I had a wicked appetite where I couldn't stop eating.
Oh my.
So I kind of come out and good and all that, but it's good to see that nonetheless, even if I'm able to pull through.
Yeah, I never lost my appetite. I never lost my appetite. So, but I did have fatigue and fever. I think those were the two main symptoms that I dealt with. And not really I didn't have no cough or congestion of this sort. Just a lung fever that when it broke, I know I broke. Yeah, I know it broke, of course. I start breaking out in sweat. Wake up in the night and I come from under the covers and it's like by my skin stung. It just stung.
Yeah.
Ain't even gonna lie. It just stung. But
It's good. Nonetheless, it's good that you guys are okay and back in health, man. That's a good thing.
yeah, Loretta said I haven't catch it, and my clients are older people. Yeah, Loretta, he came home to me, So
Be happy that German caught it
yeah,
and do the most that you can to not catch it.
yeah, I tried.
I know some people who try their best and they still end up with it, and it's an unfortunate situation, especially when you're doing everything and be reckless.
Yeah, I
But
tried.
nonetheless, car life sometimes, and in life you can't prevent everything. Something you just have to face.
I tried, man. But yeah, we here, and of course, shortly after, I know Jason wasn't feeling well, so I think he's feeling better. So the topic should be rocking and rolling tomorrow night. The topics.
We're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling and we're rolling and we're rolling. Well, what we have on the plate tonight? Reese, what about you, really? You how you doing? You alright?
Me right now, I'm a soldier. I live different. I stay outside, but
Okay.
I take the proper precautions to make sure that I navigate this world correctly.
Yeah.
But I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been just doing doing some work, But other than that, I've been good, man. I've been good. Can't complain. The family good, everybody good. Out here drinking my water and chilling, so I good.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
Alright. Big up to that. Big up to that.
Yeah, man, definitely.
So.
But boy, we cannot continue this show. We cannot go on to this show without acknowledging the unfortunate news that some of us would have heard today.
Yeah.
Where it is being said that the body of Trevor Labor would have been found. From the inception of this platform, Trevor has been a supporter. Trevor was actually the one who told me how to share things on pages and stuff like that. And actually, Trevor's words to me was, if they want you to stop, let them send you a message. And if they send you a message, don't answer the message, share it again next week, So, Trevor was a big time supporter.
Yeah.
Back when we were doing interviews on phones, we used to call people and do interview on phone and stuff like that. Trevor was one of the guys who was there, every week, share it, and he was pointed on stuff like that. And to hear about the situation last Wednesday, they were saying that he was missing.
Yeah.
You try to keep hope alive and you try to remain positive. But I think as we progress through the weekend, I think it became a little bit more obvious, more evident that we may not be seeing Trevi in the same capacity ever again. And unfortunately, today we received the word that he passed away. And just have to take it for what it is, boy. Condolences to his brother, UT, his father, Mr. Joseph Labord, former head of police, and friends and family. You just never know. You just never know how easy it is, that you're doing something that you do daily, and that could be the end of it for you. Unfortunately, he met his demise doing something that he loved and that he was accustomed to do. So you wouldn't think that would be the way that he would go, but unfortunately, Trevi is no longer with us.
Yeah. It's a hard pill, It's a hard pill to swallow. I would have worked with Trevi indirectly when I worked for the NIA. He worked in Inland Revenue. I worked for the IT department, and yeah, we had a working relationship, and also, some like a friendship as well. I used to talk to him now and again on WhatsApp, and I tried to get him on the platform. Like, I remember when we had this show in Nevis, and I tried to get him on the platform, and he unfortunately he had something else to do. I wish he had joined us on this platform, because this is a part of the purpose of the platform. A lot of these interviews and moments and people's lives are being, captured right here, and he had promised me whenever he decided to run in Gingerland, he was going to come on the platform for sure, but unfortunately that never materialized. The case. And
well, you see, he promised you that, but then he would actually promise me, because at one point he was planning to get back into promotions. I don't know if you remember that. We had
private hours
promotions. Trevi had always said, when he was going to do his first dance, when he came back, his plan was to come on the platform, and I think we had even spoken about tickets and stuff like that. If we would get 2 tickets, and we could do like a quickly giveaway or something, and it was just little things like that. But when it comes to somebody being a genuine person, Trevi was that, at least for me. I hear other people say I had different encounters with Trevi, but I have always had good encounters with Trevi from primary school growing up. So just R.I.P. man.
R.I.P. Condolences to the family.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Unfortunately, his son got to go up without a father, and that's hopefully.
But then, the truth is, his son is going up without a father. But then you look also at his father himself. He would have lost a wife, he lost a brother.
Yeah.
Now he's losing a son. Within a very short space of time. So to Mr. Joseph Labord, you said our deepest condolences. Yeah.
Sure thing, boy.
Sure
thing. And remember, this one for you, boy, Trevi.
Yeah, bye.
Respect. life. But at least we gotta cherish the ones them we love, you know. You know, we really got to tell those that we close to,
I'm
that we
telling
love
you.
them. So Reese, I can tell you,
I'm telling you,
and I love you, you know.
Yeah, man, love alone, bro. You know how that go.
You get me? Okay.
Yeah, man. But you know, I think one of the things though, because Cherry, if I'm correct, is about 2 is what I mean. But it don't make you call into reality your own mortality. You know how easy it is that you could just be here, and unfortunately, that could be the situation. You know? We all have kids. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us want to leave our kids at the ages that they are. You know what I mean? But it's a tough situation.
Me ain't even gonna lie, Reese. Me ain't even gonna lie. Like, the whole situation with Trevi had me looking into a whole life insurance, because I have life insurance with the job and whatever, but it's really more of like, it's one of the hard things to do in life, you know, like when you start to have the conversation about will and life insurance, and it's like, really and truly, we as a people need to start investing in life insurance. You know, it's actually life assurance, because we all know one day we won't be here. You know, you hope it's later rather than sooner, but when it does happen, you want to know that the people that you love, and I don't know if you could think, if you could feel whatever it is when you're gone, but you want to know. You know, you might be in your deathbed, and this is what you're thinking about. Like, would the ones that I love be good? Let's say I have a mortgage. With the ones that you love be able to pay the mortgage, carry the bills? You know what I mean?
You know.
These kind of things, funeral expenses and these kind of stuff, and it's a hard one to talk about, but it's something that if you have the opportunity and the finance, and you could put something into a life, like I said, assurance, then
not only that, you know, but
as well.
I am hoping now that we understand the jobs that fishermen do. When you see them go out, and you see them, there's no boats going out, and you see them guys going out with a fish pot. You know, so I pray for them and hope that they come back in. You know what I mean? Because it is not a guarantee, you know. The other thing that we used to say, when I used to go out in the water, I used to say, when you're on top of the water, there's the highest place you're going to be, from the own place you're getting is down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reality why it is. But you know, when you guys see fishermen going out, I see them come back in with the fish, owned by what the price.
Yeah.
You know, because
if you want to eat fish, pay for it.
It's a hard job. You know, it's a hard job when you see those guys go out there and you see them diving, going down, stuff like that. You know, and not even just, you know, a situation like Trevi, unfortunately, we had a pass through, but you heard of situations where fishermen catch bends.
Yeah.
You know, and they catch bends trying to come back up for air, whatever the thing would be, you know what I mean? So when you see these guys going out fishing and they give you a price for the fish that they catch, even though you think it's high, understand that they literally risk their life. You know, they literally risk their life to go out there for you to get a snap at a grouper the whole life. You know?
Yeah, bro.
Them guys went out and they really put a life on the line, you know. So,
which brings us to, you know, as a developing country, you know, you start to think about response time as it pertains to these kind of accidents and what happens when you mentioned something like the bends, is there a chamber? What's going to happen to a fisherman if so be the case? I mean, when you're living on an island, you would expect a good amount of the people who live on that island livelihood would be fishing. And then also, I don't know the statistics, but I feel like a lot of people in Nevis can't swim. And being on an island, I feel like more people need to learn how to swim.
I'm going to tell you something. Knowing how to swim is one thing, but you see when the situation arises, when you're in a position where you actually need to swim, a lot of times when people need to swim, you have that kind of problems. A lot of people and Christina could have said, but a man catch cramp, man had on this, man do that, and unfortunately that's what it is. Like you look at Chevy. I see Chevy in the water before. Chevy could have swim. Chevy was a fish. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, you know what I mean, that's just what it was. But you know what I mean, I think like you said, we need better responses. You know what I mean, we need a better rescue team.
We definitely
do. And we also need rescue divers too. We need rescue divers. We need these things because, like you said, we live on an island, and both islands full of fishermen. And both islands actually full of fishing villages. You have villages where majority of the males in a village go down by the bay, go fish. So we need to look into that, and it's unfortunate that it takes an incident of this magnitude for us to think about it, but we need to really start looking into it.
And in reality, it's usually tragedy that brings forth change. So
unfortunately,
yeah, this is not a conversation that we were expecting to have, of course, but and hopefully, right now a lot of people, it's raw for a lot of people, and I know a lot of people want answers. So I would just say, hopefully they do like an autopsy and people could really get closure, because you're hearing a lot of rumors and so circulating around the unfortunate situation.
Like again, you said, there's a lot of rumors. I'm not here for the rumors.
Exactly. I'm not going to talk about the rumors. I'm talking about. We need to.
Ultimately, we know that unfortunately he passed away.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's a full autopsy that is conducted, and if family members and if friends and family can get closure and understand what took place.
Exactly. And I feel like we as a society probably should wait for that as well.
Yeah, so
but you can't tell somebody how to grieve, eh?
Some of the rumors I think are a bit insensitive, actually. Some of the rumors are very insensitive, and especially if they don't know that there's nothing that actually correlates with what the rumor is, and it's very insensitive. Also, unfortunately, he left a son behind.
Yeah.
And you hear about these fatherless kids and these deadbeat dads. When then you have a father that is there for his child in whatever capacity, and then this child now is forced to go up without the father, not because the father turning back. So that's again another situation.
I also want to mention to the public of Nevis that sargassum is very dangerous, eh? That seaweed is very dangerous once decomposing. That sulfur smell that you smell, don't take it for granted. It is quite dangerous. So if you go to the beach and you see a heavy buildup of it, it would be wise for you not to swim in it. Right? And that is something that I guess we don't know. That chemical that you're smelling, the sulfur, can't remember the full compound, but it actually causes respiratory problems, skin irritation as well. After 48 hours of that seaweed decomposing, I was doing some research on that, and we can't take the slightest things for granted.
We cannot.
Right?
We cannot. We cannot.
We really can't. So
we definitely cannot. But let's show respect to Chevy one more time. If it's possible, let's put a picture up one more time, Era. Um, let's say RIP, man.
R.I.P. And that was a post that he had make, and he had say, Real Talk Corner, the only place with the real vibes, Chubby, big you up wherever you're at right now.
Yeah, man.
I just
bless you, man. Just bless up, man. Just bless up.
Big you up wherever you're at, man. Of respect. All right, Reese. We're not planning to have a long show, but there are some topics that we hope to have that we want to talk about. I mean, the Supreme Court was very busy, but let me stick with St. Kitts and Nevis for a little bit. And let me just talk about something a little more a little more joyous, and it would be Music Fest, Music Fest. We just completed Music Fest in St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, St. Kitts.
We just completed Music Fest in St. Kitts. It was good to see. As people say, we outside.
Yeah.
And after 2 years on the festival, Music Fest came back with a bang. A powerful lineup. I'm not saying that the artists might have delivered to what we never expected, but a powerful lineup nonetheless. And what I would say, it is good to see that Music Fest is back. It was good to see Music Fest is back.
The crowd that looked massive. We weren't there, but the crowds had looked really massive, and people seem to have had a really good time. I mean,
yes, man.
People really enjoyed themselves. Sad now, because the politicians don't even let the shine come off a Music Fest before they bring back in the politics as it pertains to Music Fest and who want to take credit for Music Fest or whatever. But the people win, The people win because the people had a good time. Huh?
When you see something like that magnitude come out and you realize everybody talking about it, you got to jump in and take your piece too.
Early o'clock.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody had a million pictures during Music Fest. And you make sure that you know that
they're there. Me not been jealous.
No.
I wasn't that jealous, but I was really happy to see that Music Fest was there. A matter of fact, somebody I work with messaged me and say, I need a recommendation for some place to eat in Nevis. And I say, you got a Music Fest, eh? You know what I mean? And they were like, yeah. One of the managers from up here. And it's like, how is it? And she said, it was at the time I think it was night 2. He said it's awesome. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
I had some friends of mine that was posting like videos and so on social media. And you see like a shanty by the pool and this person by the pool and stuff. And they say, man, you never get so close to a superstar with no security. I mean, so it looked like people just only free of themselves and enjoying themselves, man. And that's good to see,
Yeah.
That normalcy is back. We rocking and we're rolling. And even though the good thing was to even though we're just seeing a slight boost in the COVID numbers, we're still able to have the event, and there wasn't the threat of if the COVID numbers don't go down, we can't keep it and stuff like that. So it was good to see that people are able to at least enjoy the festival, man. That was good.
They had to that Music Fest, Reese. They had to. There's a big election coming up, so they had to have this music festival. No COVID could have stopped Music Festival.
Guys, and now the whole
No, COVID
music
could have
festival.
stopped music festival. Luis. COVID couldn't stop music festival.
Okay.
They had to have had music
Let
festival.
me ask you a question. How much artists you think that will perform on the music festival lineup when we come back for election performances? And I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people take pictures. I said, bye. See my election look like it'll be sweet, boy. A lot of people out the road dance, boy.
I forget that was a thing, you know. I forgot that was a thing. But I only remember that was a thing. I saw a video of Morgan Heritage in Grenada, who just changed their government as well, you know. So, and they elect some young people. So,
Yeah.
so young people get
the youth,
elected.
they get the opportunity, and that's a good vibe too, eh?
Yeah,
But,
let's see what we could do.
I see a lot of the pictures. I say, well, election really won't be big, boy.
Really big.
I wonder who coming back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Election in 2 weeks. Reese?
I wonder about no. It's only about 2-3 weeks before election. Yeah. Election got to come by next week. Now.
Next week they got to call.
Election got to come by next week because election must be held by August 9th.
Is August 9th? I thought it was later.
No, August 9th.
Okay.
So if that is the case, the election won't be bad. So we might see Popcorn again, we will see Destra again, we will see Berries come back again.
Without the who speak without the pump?
Yeah. I kind of lost with that, I don't know.
I'm lost, Ada.
Yeah, I don't help you.
Please help us.
But you know, it's, we won't go to see music festival. I like it too, eh?
Yeah.
I saw some of the vibes and I'm talking it and I'm kind of vexed. I'm kind of jealous.
You been jealous? You not been jealous.
Yeah,
I was happy for people. I wasn't jealous.
I pray. Oh, somebody actually said by August 8th is the deadline.
August 8th.
Yes, I get an extra there now. But when I see new vibes and I'm on the stage, I say, boy, I'm going to start following. Yeah, but
Rain would not have stopped nothing, Reese.
no.
Rain would not have stopped anything.
I can't really prefer. People are like, I'm sorry, wash out.
Lord, Reese,
Enough, eh?
Lord. Yeah, I wasn't praying for rain. I was happy to see people enjoying themselves.
Okay,
really
okay.
was. What I was upset with is that I didn't see more clips. Right? I didn't see more clips. He's very calm and soft spoken.
Yeah, I understand what she's saying now.
What up?
When she's saying that he's not the pompous person.
Oh.
I thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, okay.
The youngster lady different. And to be honest, I thought Mitchell was going to be a hard person to beat them, but
maybe he was hard. Maybe it was hard to beat.
Check this out now. Me and if I realize it. One Mitchell gone, another Mitchell come in here. I realize that. And the youngsters are Mitchell too. So they switch government and it's still a Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah. I was asking someone, but no one was able to tell me if it was like a family thing or something, if there's any relation.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that. I have not dived into the results.
Yeah, but that's what it is. But music first came out without the H-Man, and even White Sands look like it was good with Elephant and Beanie and them guys. Look like they had a little good time.
Elephant went to White Sand, right?
Yeah, Elephant, you see Elephant you run on the stage, right?
Okay.
It was entertaining, I think, and it's good to see that.
So he's 44.
For over 20 years, Elephant Man still have the same energy, you know what I mean? So it was
I
good to
didn't see. Like I tell you, one of the problems I had, the people I know, they weren't posting anything. I was quite annoyed by that. I feel like they could have shared some of those moments a little bit more, but
yeah, I saw some clips of Elephant. I didn't see anything from Beanie Man, but
Simone said he's 44. years old.
Yeah,
So.
they say not related.
Okay. Okay.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. So, prison. This is the new talk in the politics world, you know. Prison. It was fair share and now it's prison. So, I don't know, but
So what I will say about the prison, right? I think you would have, I don't know if anybody would have seen some pictures at one point that was circulating of some people would have sent out of how the inside of the prison look. I think it's fear that a new prison is built. I think the issue is the timing. I think that's the biggest issue in the prison, the timing part of it. But I would say that a new prison.
No. What do you mean the timing? What do you mean the timing?
Because now you have the government dissolve and all these things, and now we're rushing to do a prison. I think that was the issue.
Okay.
Like I don't think if the prison started after the election, it'd have been a problem. I think starting in prison within this whole debacle that we're currently in, I think that is where a lot of people kind of question what a new prison is needed.
Okay. I mean, if from what I'm gathering, the prison was since Douglas time to now. To me, it's just start the prison, because if the government change, they're gonna continue it. The idea is, though, if there is any truth to the cost of this prison, I feel like that's a problem. I've turned in my sleep thinking about the cost of that prison, you know.
But because what it is, I think it was budgeted for 88 million, and now it's 2.4 billion.
See, I don't know, but this is what I'm talking about. If that is the truth, then it just doesn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? It's a project, right? Government could change, and a next government could pick up the project. You get what I'm saying? So for me, the timing, if you're in government, you need to operate as if you're in government until the day they tell you do not show up. Because you dissolve a government, I don't think a government should stop working. The government has to function. You know what I mean? And if a project, maybe some people might disagree and say, well, a project of that magnitude should not be started in this time. No, it's politics why they don't want it to start. Because regardless to what, if let's say Timothy Harris starts the prison now, right? And he's no longer the prime minister after the election, and somebody else pick up the prison after and finish it, right? You're gonna hear them, well, I started the prison, and then the next one is going to be, well, we finished the prison. And it's all politics, man. Regardless to at the end of the day, let the projects them run. But I don't feel like that prison should cost so much money. Siobhan, I know you're in construction. Any private party investing in any kind, investing in that kind. Okay. Now, when there was something circulating. I don't know if that's from today with John L. Powell speaking about how the prison will be funded and all that. An investor would come to them and say, yo, we got an idea. And they're going to open up passports for this investment, and then and I guess in this case the prison is going to be handed over to the government after. Why not the BHS or the hospital? Okay, I don't know why. It's a good question. Right? And these are some of the things that people need to hold the government accountable for. Because I remember the BHS was a big political topic. The problem is we turn everything into politics, eh? And we as a people are allowing the government to use these topics to sway our vote. But yet still, when it's time for them to do what they need to do, we're not holding them accountable. So BHS was a big thing. Reese, you remember the BHS
That was
situation?
about business school and something about the Aquafor or something.
Okay, no. You got too far. You got with the second part. The first part was students were getting sick.
So, yeah, students were getting sick and they needed to build
They needed to build a new.
a new school.
But then when they decided, I guess they had identified an area where they wanted to build a new one, and then it was, oh, you're building it on an Aquafor and blah blah blah. I tell you, it's politics. It's always politics. Politics is a divider, and we need to recognize that politics is actually a divider. Now, people know when you're voting, you need to vote based on policies, issues, and if you find that there's an issue that is bothering you, and let's say the BHS, right? Let's say the BHS. If the BHS issue is bothering you and you voted for the party to make that change, and then they still hadn't made the change, and it was such a big problem then you don't put them back in. You don't put them back in. Because I didn't know anything about brand new prison coming up. Right? It wasn't an issue. It's never been on a platform before. I've never heard any politician speak, oh, we need to get a new prison as a point for them to get votes. Right? I've never heard a politician go and say, yes, and we're going to build a new prison. Because nobody want to hear that. First of all, nobody want to know that you're taking taxpayers' money to take care of criminals, no matter how inhumane the situations are. The situation is right now. Nobody wants to hear that their taxpayer money going to prisoners. You get what I'm saying? And it may not be taxpayers' money. It might be passports we're selling, but regardless to what. Right, it's revenue that people are pointing out right now that they say could go to something else, maybe a hospital, maybe a school, which we feel should always take priority over prisons and stuff.
Here's my thing, right, with the prison and shares. Here's with the prison. Initially, it was budgeted for 88 million. That's million with an M. Let's say you take the prison and it run over the budgeted amount.
Reese, let me ask you something.
And it run to
Let me ask you something. Did you look at the budget?
Did I look at the budget?
You looked at the budget?
I saw a document I was floating around at some point.
Okay. So we got to, before, and I know you're going to make a point, but I'm saying this is where we got to be responsible as well. Eh? When politicians say one thing, we need to have this document to say, okay, this is what the budget said. Not because they say so, you know. And also, this is what it is right now. I don't know, because I don't know if it really costs $2.5 billion or if that's just a number. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
it's politics time. It's politics time.
$2.5 billion, right? And did that money come from the sale of the passports? That's where it come from?
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying, but we need to look at the budget. I didn't get the time to look up the budget. I believe Alan will probably look into that.
But Shanti say was in the budget of 2001 as 88 million. So it seems like it was actually in the budget.
Okay. So
it was budgeted at 88 million, right?
So how we know that it's changed?
How we know that it's changed?
Yeah, how?
But listen again, right? We're going based on what is out there in the public domain, because there's nothing that we have seen. Listen, that is where accountability and transparency will always come in, and we don't have that.
Which is a problem. Which has always been a problem of mine.
We hear about the project running overpriced. We really don't know if a project running overpriced because we really don't know. There's nothing there that you could see. We don't have any transparency within our thing. There's no transparency within the federation things.
And we don't feel like these are the kind of things that we're supposed to be really up in arms about and making real issues. These are what we need to talk about. I always had an issue with Timothy Harris not wanting to release the IMF report. Why are you talking about it now? Right? Why are his ex-counterparts talking about it now when they were a part of the problem? Right? So this is what I'm talking about, right? When you talk about transparency, if it's an issue, you vote along the lines, and then when you vote for a person, okay, let me say this clearly, right? People, stop aligning yourselves with parties unless you are like high in the party. And when I say high in the party, I mean you know that you're going to be good when this party in power. Reese, I got to say it. I have to say it. Right? When you vote for somebody, the whole idea of you are being a NRP, you being a CCM, you being Unity, PLP, PAM, Labour, whatever it is, and people vex with you because this time you vote for one party and you decide you'll vote for a next party another time. That is what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to vote based on whatever the current issue is. So if inflation is the issue of the day, and you feel like that is, you worry, it's the surcharge, which we got to get into, right? And you feel like you need somebody else to steer the ship because guess what? Surcharge is killing me right now. I can't pay my electric bill and still buy food. Then vote for somebody else. And then when you vote for the person else, then you give them the chance to do something about it. And if they don't do something about it, you vote for somebody else. And if you feel like you don't want to vote, don't let nobody make you vote. It is your right to vote, but it's also your right not to vote. Right? It is also your right not to vote. The forefathers who fought for our right to vote also fought for just that, a right. And it is not a right when you always have to. And people might say I'm reckless and you must vote, right? But no, if you have to vote, then it's no longer right. You also have the right to say, I am not going to give any support to any of these people. And I'm just going to deal with it however it is because I am not happy with anything that any of them had laid out in front of me. First off, right, I've seen, like, you know what? Go ahead. So we're going to say, Reese. I'm not even going to get into that.
So let me ask you the real question. With everything that you just said, how much of that you feel actually resonates with people?
I mean, I am going to say it, right? Maybe the masses may not, like you say, may not resonate with everyone, but somebody out there would agree. There's somebody out there that might be enlightened. And right here and there, it's like whatever it is. It's the unpopular opinion, but we should not align ourselves with these political parties.
No, I agree that you should not align yourself with these political parties. But unfortunately, based on how everything has been structured, how things have been growing up, and all of that, it is unlikely that is ever going to change. Or let me tell you how you may have an opportunity of something like that changing. You have to introduce a class like civics. So you teach children from a young age what their rights are. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what we need to do. That's one thing. The second thing is we need to have electoral reform where we could start changing different things. Because if we start changing different things, then things will move differently. Let me show you something. If you see like all these bills and so this what they're talking about, like for example, let's talk about the marijuana bill.
Yeah.
You put that on a ballot, let the people vote for it first. Put it on a ballot, let the people vote on it. The people vote overwhelmingly for it. Let it go through. Don't hold it back. Things like that you gotta start doing. And then we as citizens got to be able to make it known, hey, big man, hey, miss, you work for me. I am your employer. Your paycheck comes from me. So if you want a paycheck after these next 5 years, you better act right.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
But you know the problem is, we are afraid to do that. We don't do stuff like that. We don't approach these politicians and say, hey, you work for me.
And
we don't even call politicians' office.
I
say,
think,
hey, I got a light off on my road. I need that by tomorrow.
I
No, you
think,
can't never like.
yeah, in course, never like.
For what?
But I think it's also the nature of the politics as well. It's the victimization and these kind of things. Like some of the stories that I hear as it pertains to like victimization and so, how they like, you could see why people close their mouths. But all you need is to vote. You ain't got to talk. You just need to vote. You just need to vote. We need APPG, all party parliament groups. This is done in. What has CCM done for people of Nevis? You leave that for the people of Nevis to decide, because you see, on Real Talk Corner, we don't get into like pointing fingers at governments and saying a government hasn't done this, a government has done that. We stay away from those kind of conversations, Simone. But it's your job as a citizen to say what you feel CCM, NRP, where they have jab shot in terms of when they're in charge of Nevis, right?
And you know
The
what
topics
you
might
do
be a
when you
little
really
more expressive in that part. Huh?
when you really got a drop shot, you hold a foot to the fire and vote them out. Anybody who feel drop shot and not doing a job, get rid of them. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, I feel so good about what I see in the last like 3 weeks. I see a lot of these party meetings, and I see some videos where they're empty. I'm happy to see that. Because when it's empty, a lot of these meetings, these town hall meetings where we are calling when they're going out to different villages and stuff like that, and they're empty. You see that? Because you let me know that election they will show how the pendulum will swing. Yeah.
Man, or maybe people not drive. Gas price is too high. You get what I'm saying? Gas price is too high.
But we need to understand that as a voting population, as a voting populace, we got the power. Them work for we.
Yeah.
Every paycheck that I get come from us. And if I feel like you're not doing a good job, me got to cost you. Just know that, hey, you're working for me again next time. Get rid of you.
Okay, and Simone, this is what we're talking about, right? Like if water bill and the surcharge, we all know I think every politician would know, right? That increase in your water bill, the increase in the surcharge is an issue. Now here's the thing. When you have an election coming up is when you really need to get the politicians them to tell you what they're going to do about these things. And if they don't tell you what they're going to do about these things, because this is the issue you have, then you vote against them. If you're not satisfied with what they're saying, you vote against them. And if neither of them are presenting anything that you feel like is of substance, then you don't vote for anybody. What about that? You get what I'm saying? Surcharge is a problem. I feel like rather than hearing about the prison right now, food prices, inflation, the rise in search oil. So now you see a rise in electricity and energy and all this kind of stuff.
I'll tell you, a part of that is,
You don't vote for any of them, Jai.
a part of that is uncontrollable, right? And I think that's a major part that we're not getting. Like a
Yeah.
part of the surcharge is uncontrollable because as the price of goods outside rise and you have to import it, then you have to pass
Okay.
the price on. So
Okay. But
Right.
then I hear Sinkits not gonna, I hear Sinkits don't have to pay the surcharge.
what you say? You hear saying it's on the surcharge?
They not got no surcharge.
I don't know about that.
Oh.
No, I don't know about saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. It doesn't exist. In
I don't know
Sinkits.
that.
Sinkits doesn't pay surcharge.
Because I know I see people who complain about the stuff getting cut off and stuff getting cut off this stuff and so kind of bill were high and they couldn't afford the better stuff. So I don't know if it's just reckless people who bill get high.
I mean,
Well,
electricity
yeah.
has gone up regardless to what, but that surcharge, I don't think it exists in Sinkits.
I really don't know about the if there's some sinking surcharges is paid by CBI. So that's why it's not there.
Reese, you know the big thing now? The big thing is Sinkits need their own local government. Yeah? And Sinkits need to start use the federal government as the local government. Because
Yeah.
I think that's the only way you really could start to talk about fish, yeah? Imagine the federal government is your local government.
Yeah, but that won't be tough.
Not
So
gonna be
you tell me
tough.
that
How is it?
State
What?
should have two elections as well.
The structure of how a federal government operate. No, hold on. The structure of how a federal government operate, right, could change. First of all, we've already said that the election date should be a constitutional date, right? So we could have one elections to knock out the local Nevis government, the Sinkits Nevis government, and we should probably be voting for a prime minister, president, whatever the case may be. Direct, right? You're not voting, like you should be voting for, boom. We have a problem. Our constitution is not the best.
Yeah,
The way how we do it is not the best.
I agree with that 100%. But let me ask you a question now. So you say you should vote for a prime minister, president, whatever it is, right? One head of state, right?
Mm-hmm. We should
think
vote
that
for that
person
person.
You think that person gonna come from Nevis?
It hasn't
No.
come from Nevis before.
No, I
so
didn't
what the
answer that.
difference
You
be?
think- No, you're not answering the question. You think the person gonna come from Nevis?
It's not
Answer to that is
impossible
no, right?
that the person could come from Nevis.
Okay, no. The answer to
And
that
then
is-
another thing too, I feel like there should be something in the constitution.
Let me talk about it.
Go ahead.
No, man.
Go ahead.
So if we know that most likely is not going to come from Nevis, the person who's in charge of the federal purse is going to be sponsoring kids. You think either way they're going to send the money in Nevis?
But
They
Reese,
still gonna send the money in Nevis.
you're looking
The
at
money
it.
still gonna come.
You're looking at it. The way how you're looking at it is when you speak about the government in Sinkits, right? You talk about the federal government. When you talk about a federal government that has federal responsibilities, then they will be guided by that and that only. They can't do it the way how they do it now, because you're going to have a restructure of, you're thinking about it. You have to think about it more of how it is now, right? Where you have a president in the United States that would have came from a state, but you think that they're going to be just sending all the federal aid to that state? No, you have to change the way how you're thinking about it right now. It's the reason why it is the way it is because of how the government is structured. The whole government would be restructured. You have to restructure the way how the government operate. Sinkits would have to be responsible the same way how Nevis is responsible for certain things.
Aaron, hold on. You telling me that both islands should vote for a leader, right? So both Sinkits and Nevis would vote for a leader, being the president. Let's just say the president, right?
So
They come together and vote for a president.
we
Do you think
can't.
that Sinkits people is going to allow that person to do that? You realize that Sean and Mark come
Do you
together right now, and you realize when in the convention when they talk about facial equal and quiet, you realize that?
do you realize? Do you
No,
realize?
I
Do you realize again? It's because of the way how the government is structured. Do you realize this? It's because of the way how the government is structured. We would have okay, people. I'm not calling for more elections. A matter of fact, I'm calling for one election.
one election day.
One election. And I'm not calling for a premier of Sinkits and a premier of Nevis. It could also be senators. It could also be this. We could model our. The problem is people are looking at it as the way how it is now and thinking I'm saying mirror Nevis, create one of that in Sinkits, and then got another government now for federal. No. You're going to do an overhaul of the way how the government operates. First of all, we got to put checks and balances in places, right? You really need to have certain things put in place. Right now, you could form a government, a federal government that doesn't need anybody from Nevis at all. And I think that is a problem. A Nevision should always have a seat in the federal government, right? You should always have to have a Nevision and the federal government. Imagine you could have 6 seats in Sinkits as the federal government, and that is a representation of what the federal government is. 6 people from Sinkits. So now when you have a structure with the federal government, you voting for certain capacities in the federal government, and one thing that is guaranteed, somebody from Nevis is going to be in that federal government. Not a case where you won't be able to form a federal government to represent Nevis and Nevis interests, because it's a federation. The federal government has to represent the federation. Let a certain body now represent the local interests. So if we want to say the local interest is education, or we want to say education is a federal matter. If we want to say health is a local issue, or we want to say health is a federal matter. This is what we're going to have to look at, the structure of the government, and restructure how the government is formed. Because there is no way you're supposed to have a federal government that doesn't have somebody representing it from Nevis. There's no way that's supposed to be possible. No way. You think you could get a federal government here in the United States and you don't have representation from each state? No. That's why you have the House. That's why you have the Senate. And then you have the Senate that each state has a certain amount of Senate, and then you have the House where you have representation based on your population. I'm thinking we need to restructure the way how our government works, because this federal government being Sinkits local government can work no more.
Yeah, I love everything what you're just saying, and I like the people that I agree with you. You know, I want the sad part about it there.
It might never happen.
If it come down to voting, Sinkits ain't voting for no division. So you're naturally gonna lose 75 to 25%. Okay. That's one.
So let me show you something then. Hold on. Wait. No, understand. Wait. Before you go too deep into that, right? You may have a case where from Sinkits, because the population is larger, they also put forth more people from Sinkits, you know? So it's not a case that one person from Sinkits is going to go up against somebody from Nevis, right? We had 3 million, right? So you may have a case where you have 5 people from Sinkits. You can't vote for all of them. So their numbers might split. So you might end up with a case that somebody from Nevis pull it out, because guess what? Nevis might decide we're voting for the Nevision. But in Sinkits now, they got a thing. But I hope it's not that way. I hope it's you listen to who have whatever and people vote accordingly, right? But of course, people will have their natural biases. But you can't say one man from Nevis can run and one man from Sinkits can run, so it can be Sinkits versus Nevis all the time. You could have 5, 6, 7 people from Sinkits a run. So then at the end of it, their numbers split. What about that? Have you thought about it in that way too?
Have I talked about it that way?
Okay, yeah.
Well, so if you come on to it, right? Let's say we do it.
You forgot they got fired as a result.
Right?
Go ahead.
Let's say we do it, Joe. Let's say we want to run all 5 political parties and send the person forward. So you got Janice, Mark, Sean, Tim, and Dr. Drew going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You feel when you vote count. Keep in mind that Dr. Drew constituency alone, I will just say his constituency is over 3,000 people. Right? We're just using that as a number. Right? You got one. Where you feel we have that.
But Reese, you cannot go in. Reese, you cannot go into a new system with that old boundary set up.
No, we're not talking about the boundary set up. I just used that area. I just said 3,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just the area. We're not worried about the boundary set up.
Yeah, but
now,
everybody now voted you.
No, but check the second part of it.
Go ahead.
Let's say the person who is elected is Mark, right? Let's just use Mark get it.
Yeah.
And everybody is saying to stand on Mark. What do you think?
Everybody in sync it's the what?
Everybody is saying to stand on Mark because it is not. We are not conditioned for an individual to run the federation, so you will have no support from St. Kitts. In our lifetime, we will never see where St. Kitts will relinquish power to Nevis. And if you see it happening,
so you see it in the current situation too, then
it's not happening.
Reese.
And even with a complete overhaul, St. Kitts is not relinquishing power.
Okay, but Reese, you do understand this is also a part of the reason why we need to change the way how the government is structured, right? You realize the president can't just get up and do as he feel, right? You realize the president got to go through like checks and balances, got to go through the host and these kind of things, right? You realize that, right?
No, because I see Trump Benjamin I want to executive order.
Well, no, but he got the power to veto and so, but the man could also remove that too.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. The answer to this whole thing by is secession.
Secession is not a good thing.
As long as you still connected,
the problem with secession at this point in time is Nevis has to walk away with nothing.
And you have to start from the bottom.
Nevis would have to walk away with nothing because it's not like St. Kitts can say, okay, we can walk, unless Nevis can take St. Kitts to court and say, well, we need full disclosure, but who can force it? We gotta understand, country got data, like, hear me, data. By IRS data. You have sovereignty, you check. So the country, who can tell the country, oh, you got to do this? St. Kitts, you got to get Nevis this money. Who can do that? Who really can do that? Who? The UN can pressure them to do it? See, Nevis can't get no secession in this day and age, boy. Crazy. Right now, we just need to work as one and figure out a new system because, like I said, all I know, the federal government being in charge of St. Kitts' local government is not it. It is not it. And this is why we had a conversation about constitutional change, because all of these needs to be looked at. Economy of scales. It's never a good idea to become smaller and smaller. There you go. There you go. So, Reese, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about that, but that is just how I feel, and I feel like that is the next thing that I am going to be champion, which will never, I think, would never happen. But I really don't feel like the federal government should be St. Kitts' local government. St. Kitts needs its own local government, and St. Kitts. What is the process of So you need 2/3 of the parliamentarians, and then you need a referendum. That in itself is so stressful. You get what I'm saying? It's like, this thing is so stressful, man, to amend the Constitution. The Constitution hasn't even been touched. Mark can't even run in the NIA. How we can run both? And then you would have an election, and when you get in an election, you have one election. You're voting for the St. Kitts, you're voting here, just how you vote here.
I think they need a lot of changes. I think electoral reform is a big thing. There's a lot of things that need to change.
And I'm not. Yeah.
There's many things that need to change.
There's
so,
a lot of things that needs to be changed. And I'm not saying
about having to wait 6 days later to get results is stupid.
It is not a good look for democracy, you know, Reese.
Stupidness.
It is not a good look for democracy.
When we see other Caribbean countries with bigger populations coming in 2 hours out, 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours after the election over, wait till the next day. Another different election result. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So we need changes. We do need changes.
And guess what? I remember when after the Grenada election, someone had posted, and I said, well, I guess they don't cheat. And I joked, I said, man, this is why our elections so sweet and blah blah blah, whatever.
I don't even think it's cheating, right?
But no, Reese, there is no way you're gonna tell me that everything is all clean and fair.
Listen,
how long it take you to count a couple votes?
Chef, you see that what Chef just said? They need to come back to the polling station. If you have a representative for your party that you trust to stay there for the whole election process, you don't trust the person. You don't trust the person to just stand there and just watch it count and send a number in. In 15 minutes, you can start getting numbers.
Yeah, they need to count them there. You got some boxes with 200 and something. And then kind of little thing there.
You got to get somebody to drive, and the driver ain't here yet. What do you mean the driver ain't here yet?
The driver here, and somebody got to follow this, and no.
If you trust the person to stand in the polling station as your representative for your party, trust the person to stand while they count it, and let me get the numbers rolling.
But when you say, Reese, if the system will work for them, why change it, right? Why change it? Why change it?
That's stupidness, boy.
Why change it?
Count the ballots in the polling station, let the people get the results.
Yeah.
Last election, we do election coverage, and the following day we start to wake up to the election coverage again.
You remember?
You're not me again now.
And no results. No results in terms of number 8.
I do 2 election coverage, and they say, I turn on the computer when I go sleep, see? Stupidness.
Wild. That was wild.
Yeah, man. But let's keep the ball rolling. Rolling.
Carter Jason. The NIA was set up for the independent Nevis, but the present government have us dependent and think it's not financially preparing Nevis to be an independent Nevis. The problem I got with this whole independent Nevis is I feel like because of the introduction of the CBI now and other things, where Nevis really need to get issue out of that, if they're gonna walk away. But Reese, I know Nevisions don't want to hear about this, but I want to know if Nevis always used to put in their fair share. Because Nevis was on top one time, you know. Nevis was the cream of the crop, you know. When Four Seasons was in full swing, financial services, all these taxes and so was making Nevis used to give their fair share into the federal government as well. We decide nope. We holding on to that, which is constitutional, that Nevis was supposed to contribute the taxes. Did we do that? That is a question.
That's a question again.
That is a question. When we had the up and up, in Nevis, did we do what we were supposed to do? I'm not saying 2 wrongs make a right. I'm just saying this is the kind of politics that we gotta deal with. You get what I'm saying? This is what we need to examine. This is the politics we gotta deal with. Everything used to go into the consolidation fund. And thank you for that answer. Because then you're telling me that Nevis used to do what they had to do. When Nevis had the chance to give their fair share and used to, at what point Because you say used to, did it stop? Nevis stopped putting its money into the kit. No, Van stopped it back in 2012, which I think is wrong. I think that was wrong. Because now we are ball. Because we were constitutionally required to do it. And if we stopped, now we are complaining about something that the Constitution don't seem to have the power to tell us how the allocation of those funds should be. You see what I'm saying? I mean, in all fairness, because that is the word of the day. Fear.
Fear boy. Fear boy.
We should get a certain amount from it, right? I think if you do the population, Nevis is not even a quarter of the population of St. Kitts and Nevis. But, you know, we should get a certain amount.
Yes, man. Should be getting something at least.
The idea is now, let's look at, for instance, the lottery up here. You know, the lottery up here help fund education also.
Yeah, you got to put something back in the kitty.
You get what I'm saying? Then who now is suffering? The Nevis people. Well, maybe if we had give our fair share, then we wouldn't be suffering today. Maybe these Kittitian politicians, because they could remember. And maybe they're like, well, when you guys had the chance, you decide you're not doing it. It was wrong, but the SK government, like, you see what she said? The SK government. There's no such thing as a SK government. A SK government does not exist. There is a SKN government, and this is where the problem lies, because whenever you refer to the SK government, you're referring to the federal government, which is the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts people are being treated unfairly, and you will never hear any vision say so. And the reason why St. Kitts people are being treated unfairly is because they don't have their own government. Let them get their own government. But the unfairness, I work out in their favor, eh? I can tell you that much. The unfairness, I work out in their favor. Big up myself, Fabs, all the time, every time. The unfairness is working out in their favor, but they're being treated unfairly. We're not supposed to say SK government. SK doesn't have a government. St. Kitts doesn't have a government. St. Kitts people, you don't have a government. Just think about that. You do not have a government. You don't have a government. St. Kitts Nevis has a government, but St. Kitts doesn't have a government.
That's true.
As a matter of fact, St. Kitts don't even exist. St. Kitts people from St. Kitts Kittitians may say St. Kitts, but it doesn't exist. St. Kitts doesn't exist. St. Kitts Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis exists. Nevis exists. But St. Kitts doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
It's very true.
We might go around saying St. Kitts, and St. Kitts may be the more popular island, but St. Kitts doesn't exist. Nevis has a government, St. Kitts don't have no government. But it's unfair to them, but it's working out in their favor. That's
out in their favor, boy. Out in their favor, keep that line, walk over, boy.
It's working out in their favor. It's working out in their favor, right? Oh my gosh! But that's an unfair gameplay twice, eh?
Yeah, man.
Unfair gameplay twice, and this is the problem. You see, this is where St. Kitts need to realize where it becomes a problem, right? Is what really happens when you have a Nivision in charge. And you have that bias now in the federal government as your local government. Where now the government that you know that represents you all the time, the federal government is now in charge by a Nivision. They not like it. They not like it. They not like it. And then is when you probably might start to hear the cries of St. Kitts need their own government. But the numbers are set up in a certain way. that it is very hard for you to have a Nivision in power. But I can tell you something, with the introduction of PLP, we're going to see a prime minister from Nevis sooner rather than later. Because now you're playing with less, it's more parties with the same amount of numbers. And now it is harder for a party in St. Kitts to roll out as head honcho without needing to join up with somebody from Nevis. And that is why you have, that is where I say Nivision, you have the ability to stand as one and get the prime minister at least for one time. You know what I mean? But big up to St. Kitts. Big up to St. Kitts, to be honest. Big up to St. Kitts. You know, people might feel like, oh, them, you know, like St. Kitts or whatever the case may be, but to be honest, it's more of, it's hard when you got to sit and think about, Nevis can't have a prime minister. You know, it is hard for you as a Nivision who might aspire to be certain things in life, and one of that, somebody might want to be the prime minister, and it's like, you know, you're from Nevis, that's never going to happen. That's a hard pill to swallow, you know. So don't ever look to be the prime minister. But anyway, Nivisions, the premier get paid more than the prime minister, so I would rather be the premier.
But it's stupid, man.
The premier get more money than the prime minister.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why you should be mad, but
the premier get more than the prime minister. And guess what? You could also be the premier and still be a federal minister and get 2 checks. Mm-hmm. So Nevis that lock out too, but on the top. Anyway, let us switch the conversation. So Nevis can come with 5 seats and St. Kitts come with 8.
It won't be 3. If we go to musical account, if you had 5 seats,
no, I think you're talking if you restructure the way how the government work. But when you look at St. George's and so, St. George's not supposed to get your own constitution in a federal election. When you got like 700 votes cast, and then you got St. John's and St. Paul's down there with 3,000 plus. That don't make no sense. These kind of things don't make no sense. You only hear politicians start to talk about, oh, boundaries when they feel like they're going to lose. They don't really care. They don't care. None of them are talking about boundaries right now. Boundaries, huh?
Boundaries no matter. Nobody don't care what boundaries until they think the vote now come back in the favor.
Exactly. A whole case went to the Privy Council, you know? A matter of fact, what happened to that there?
What
happened to that Privy case? When the Privy Council come in and say, no man, run for the old boundaries. You know, we're England, we run higher still, you know? We didn't tell her what to do. And then just left it as that.
Alright, before we transition, I think Bernal had asked if we not advance had the opportunity to become Prime Minister of the government.
I know that.
Yes,
I know that.
You know that was given the opportunity to
to
take the Prime Ministership, and he turned it down. Bad decision, but you know.
He turned it down. I don't know. He's a politician, and from what I've been told is his supporters said don't join with Labour. I think that was short-sighted of his supporters, but he had to do what the supporters then asked him to do. If that is the case. That is the job of a politician, you know? And I feel like that is what people need to realize. That if you vote to somebody, you could tell them what you want them to do.
That's true.
The elected officials have let it like that. So why would the Privy Council? Well, they said something in the last election when they make sure tell you run on the old boundaries and not the new one. So imagine we actually try to change the boundaries.
But listen, I need just to give the people full eye. You have 5 years to change the boundaries and you wait until 6 months before election day to vote that way.
No.
Boundary commission.
Reese, the boundaries, I would not argue with anyone if they tell me the boundaries were changed to favor the particular party in power. Right? But this is a part of the problem. We can't get anything fair in a St. Kitts and Nevis, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis now make no noise. Nobody talk about boundaries. Nobody talk about BHS. Maybe they are. Maybe we're just not hearing them. But I'm talking about in general the population. They don't care. They want to hear about White Sands and Music Fest.
Who want to talk about BHS? You want to talk about BHS? If you're a PLP supporter, you're not going to talk about BHS. If you're a Labour supporter, you're kind of close enough to the Prime Minister or representatives to talk to them about BHS. That's why it is. Elected officials do the only time to people who don't know vote for them,
Yeah.
You realize that, right? So if I know you here vote for me, why would I give you an opportunity to come talk to me? No, this person here who I know vote for me, better understand that you better be quiet too because you get a little decent talk out for me. Well, who will do that? That's the reality how we're dealing with. But the boundary commission will be the most entertaining thing for me. You have 5 years to change the boundary. But let's wait till 6 months before election to say, hey, we're gonna put together an inquiry to go find out what the boundary for what? To follow.
Well, we're not gonna hear anything about boundaries in this election. Imagine that. You know these elections probably should be null and void. All of them. At least the ones in... No, all of them. All the seats them should be null and void.
That's interesting. So really...
I mean... we might set boundaries, right? And think it's just... It's an imaginary line, but when you start to think about the seriousness of a boundary, when you look at the unfairness of, let's say, like I just mentioned, Nevis 10? That's Gingerland? That's whatever Gingerland is.
Yeah.
And the amount of people in Gingerland that have the power to elect a representative, right? Versus the amount of people in Nevis 9. The people in Gingerland vote way more than the people in 9.
True.
I mean, it has their vote has more weight. So it is not democratic. It is not a democracy.
So here's a question. Here's a question I have, right?
Yeah.
You have
based on
Gingerland, yeah.
Based on the Constitution, they're supposed to realign that boundary. The Constitution?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, go ahead.
So, this is what I would have done, right? This is what I think is a good suggestion. You combine St. George's with St. Thomas's and St. Paul's, St. Thomas's and St. James, and then you split St. Kitts 8 and make it another. So you have nine constituencies in St. Kitts, because St. Kitts 8 is a big constituency too.
It is, but they could also move them in numbers. You could also move you could also move the numbers around. You could move that's what the boundary for realigning. Somebody just asked a question. Okay, I don't think we need to add any more seats. I think we just need to readjust.
Actually, I don't think we need to add more seats at all.
Yeah, because we see, we do that. Someone asked, what's our thoughts on Sean Richards saying that election government money was used for election campaign? I would say it's a travesty, because when you think about it, is you always suspect that they do it, but to hear a politician actually admit it,
I would say that is Sean for staying in power.
It's crazy. You
That
can't
is
do
that
that though.
that is Sean for staying in power because I have always felt that everybody who's in power use government funds for the campaign.
They do, and I think it's
I
a
don't think
problem.
what's the defense one. I feel that's what they want.
It's a problem, but it is something. You know, we know that they use the treasury money. Sean saying that though, I don't know like why he would say that, because to me that is a very bad light on himself. Because you're telling me that you're a part of government and you allow that?
Well, not even not only that now.
Joy, we can wait long for something like that. Campaign fire, campaign.
I think
Transparency
question-
campaign finance.
I think the question is that needs to be asked is how did Sean benefit from it?
It doesn't even matter. The fact
you
that he
can't
was a
come
part of
up
it is enough for me. Because he should have said something then. These politicians got to realize who their responsibility is to, you know? Their
No,
responsibility is to the people. So he now
No.
saying it now because he wants to
No.
make Tim look bad. It's crazy.
No, these politicians do not know that the responsibility is to the people, and the people also don't hold their foot to the fire. So no,
I think the politicians know. I think the people don't, like you said, hold their foot to the fire.
and that's what it is.
I think that is just it. When they use the treasury money for campaign, there should be serious yeah, but guess what? The next person who come in want to use treasury money for campaign too. Because Shanti, when you think about it, right? If the government change, they're going to know exactly how that money was used, when, and how much. And I don't think it's the first time it's happened. And that's all I could say. I don't think it's the first time it's happened. I don't think they started it in 2020. I don't think they started it in 2015 either.
Exactly.
But they did continue it. It is something that they continue. It's one of the projects of government that they continue to use government, not the government, to use the people money for the campaign. So all I could say is when they got the party and them give the free food, might as well go because you're paying for it anyway.
Yeah,
It's not free.
that's how we go. And I mean, you got to take what you get.
Yeah.
What I would like to see, honestly, what I would like to see is investigations start occurring. If there's any form of corruption, we start to hold these politicians and throw somebody in jail.
Who can do it?
That's the issue right there. Because my thing is, right, and I don't say it, and somebody will say they don't agree with me. Our politician is friend, yeah. All of them is friend.
All
All of them,
friend.
no matter what party they represent, all of them is friend. So they're going to throw each other in jail.
No. I believe.
So,
Go ahead.
so at the end of the day, as much as I say, oh, when I get in, I'm going to do this, when I get in, I'm going to do a damn thing. Because that's your friend. That is your friend. At the end of the day, I still cool. I may represent two different parties. But really and truly, are you cool?
Reese, exactly. Because me and you might play a game, eh? And at the end of it, during the game is bacchanal. Let's say it's domino. Right? And you bang me. At the end of it, me say, boy, Reese, you get me good here, you know. You do buy when you play the card, buy. I feel like that's how the politicians now be after these elections, you know.
Yeah.
Buy? I pull a prison one day from nowhere, Jen. Hey, Sean, when you start to go on the site with the man, boy, that was a good play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, I feel so too. Because of that, you get locked up.
All of them don't go to the same set of events. All of them the same VIP. All of them rubbish. Same thing.
Boy,
All of them say baby.
All of them in the same VIP. All of them will take pictures with one another. You know what I mean? All of them will do these things. You're right. They're showing you. And you would fall out over fall out with your family and your friend over politics.
Well, that is true as well. John got the point.
Jesus.
It's not that they're friends with politicians. They're gonna put something in place that will pay them up too. That is true. I ain't change them. They're gonna trip me up. I agree with you, John. That's why nobody not change the rules, because I done with any rules that in place. Me not change them.
Reese, you remember Douglas been supposed to go to jail?
Bye.
Douglas been supposed to go to jail, you know? I hear Mark say don't be surprised if somebody not end up in jail over this prison thing. You not call on him though?
Nobody in jail.
Nobody get in jail. It's politics.
Unfortunately, we do not hold them accountable.
It's politics.
Alright, we're rolling.
Reese, we got 3 topics that I wanted to touch, but we're running out of time. So we ain't spend too long on them.
Yeah.
Some controversial topics too, you know.
But yeah,
some controversial topics. Hold on there, Reese.
Okay, I don't think he had to step away, but you said Timothy, Sean, Mark, all of them is in together. Who knows where they go to jail? When police was going to arrest, was lack of grants and shit, was appropriations of finance money, the police was and that is true as well, right? We've heard about that where I guess Grant and Paul will at some point are going to be arrested for the misappropriation of funds. I like one thing I like what people do. When it's regular people, is the thief. But when it's politicians, it's a misappropriation of funds. I trust some people in there make things so fancy, right? The people thief the money. But that is true. I heard that the police was moved. And we never hear nobody case again. So, yeah, all of them is friend.
All of them are friend.
All of them is friend, man. Wait, let me get into these three that everyone wants to put.
Yeah. Let me move over to the US. Yeah. I don't know who interested in the US, but we're gonna talk about the US right now. We're gonna talk about the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has been very busy. Very, very busy. Now, we all probably don't hear about Roe versus Wade, the decision, which is from what is it, a 1973 or 1969 or something like that case. Anyway, we're going to leave that one for later, because that one is very controversial. The one that I'm going to talk about right now is that the Supreme Court protects police from lawsuits over violating Miranda rights. Now, Reese, what is going on here is that there are some... Yeah, Jai. We can get into that, Jai. We can get into that. But the Miranda rights. So the Miranda rights is that, that little thing, you have your right to remain silent. It's basically they're reading over your Fifth Amendment. So it is important, Reese, that you understand what are your rights, right? A lot of times people like to say, "Oh, I know my rights. Well, one of those rights you have is the right to remain silent, because guess what? Anything that you say after, it used to be after they read you that Miranda rights, and it comes from a case. When all of these are coming from a case, after they said that, anything that they say after that can be used against you in the court of law. So when they say that, you could hush your mouth and say, "I am waiting for my lawyer to talk," because you have the right not to self-incriminate yourself. It's the Fifth Amendment. I do not know if that exists in St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't know if a police could talk to you and you tell the police, "I ain't saying nothing." In better English, I am not going to say anything unless a lawyer is here. But here in America, you have that right to remain silent. And any lawyer would tell you, exercise that right to the fullest. You ask them if you're going to be if you're being detained. And if you are being detained, then you say, "Well, I would like a lawyer." and just go. But so what it was, you could have sued the police after if they used anything against you before they read your Miranda rights. But now the Supreme Court say no. If you're a criminal, and even if anything that they used against you was before your Miranda rights was read to you, you can't sue them. Right? You can't do anything about it. Even if it's used to convict you. That's why you need to learn to hush your mouth. I'm not saying that you're going to be a criminal, but here's the thing, police use, even when you're innocent, they're able to use, they ask you questions in a way for you to incriminate yourself. When a police asks you a question, they ask you the question in a way for you to incriminate yourself. They're not asking you any questions to help you. They want you to incriminate yourself. So, for instance, the way they're going to phrase a question, they might say, Reese, let's say someone said, Reese, you stole that hat, right? They're going to phrase the question in a way that if you answer it, you might say, yeah, I stole the hat, even that you didn't steal the hat because of how you answer the question. So the best thing for you to do is to wait for a lawyer who understands the lingo, if you don't understand the lingo. Reese, what are your thoughts on that decision by the Supreme Court?
I think that's unfair. Because now you're telling me that at any given point, anything that I say literally can be used against me. It's not that I have to wait until I hear this and then from there on. So anything that could be heard is where the issue comes in.
Yeah.
Because then you may be saying something and maybe something where they actually overhear, they could use that against you. You don't even remember what you said. Can you just have a conversation? You know, so I don't agree with it, but it's what it is.
Yeah, and it is, for me, it is just learn to exercise your right, your Fifth Amendment right, more often. If you have the unfortunate situation of dealing with law enforcement in that kind of capacity, then I would just recommend that you understand that you have the right to remain silent, and you should exercise that right.
Just stay quiet.
Am I being detained? Yes, no, can I go? If they say yes, you're being detained, then just wait until you get a lawyer. Next case, because everybody wanna talk about this abortion case, man. Roe versus Wade. It's very controversial. We can get some. I believe I can get some licks, but Supreme Court says Americans have the right to carry guns in public, and this was a case where I guess in New York you need a special permit to carry your concealed weapon. But now the Supreme Court will say, based on the Second Amendment, you could carry your handgun. You check what I'm saying? If you could legally own a handgun, whereas here you could legally own the handgun in your house to protect your house, but you can't take it. Like for instance, you remember the case of the youngster who they say is from Bat Village who tried to perform a citizen arrest?
Yeah.
Right? So he actually got charged with carrying a concealed weapon. He didn't get charged for grand theft and so on. This man got off lucky, but he got charged with carrying a concealed weapon because he didn't have. I reckon these judgment from the Supreme Court be challenged.
It can, but the process is very long.
Long, yeah. It's the Bass Court. It's the Bass Court. Yeah. So it's that's the court that you go to. It's that's the Bass.
Yeah.
With that, Reese, I know how you feel about guns. I know how I feel about guns.
So my thing is, right,
yeah.
And there was a situation in New York. Now we're going to use New York as the epicenter of this topic.
Yes, well, that is
right?
Exactly.
But yeah, but so when New York had a situation where they've been having there's been a rise in gun crimes, right? What you start to realize in New York is that the individuals who own firearms legally, they cannot take them out of the house, and there's like shotguns and stuff like that. But the individuals who are committing these crimes, they don't own no gun legally. So now you have law-abiding citizens who cannot protect themselves, but going against criminals who don't have nothing to lose because they don't go in jail, they get kept with the gun anyway, so they might as well shoot you. And that's the situation.
At least in some cases they own the gun legally. I think in the last couple of shootings you have cases where the last couple of mass shootings that you hear about, they bought their guns legally. Like, New York, you're right. Well, Buffalo is where?
Huh?
Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know the situation in the Buffalo situation, because the Buffalo situation, certain things started to come out about the security guard, and that he was aim at a hit. It was like a hit or something, because he developed some sharpness.
We gotta look into that.
But when you speak about it, right? People go after soft targets. So if I know it's likely that you don't have a gun, it's easier for me to come after you. Right?
Yeah.
That's why you see mass shootings in church. Mass shootings in church because people in church.
They're not gonna gun. I mean, this is one of the topics where, you know, people like, you know, I got into a debate with my mother-in-law. I was like, if more people had gun, that man couldn't do what he do. He couldn't kill as many people. You get what I'm saying? If in Buffalo, when he walked into the supermarket.
But again, right, is in New York.
But that's what I'm saying. No, but I'm talking about like Jai, who is saying America need to demilitarize its citizens, but I don't think it's gonna solve it, because a lot of people think this problem is like America is on an island with this problem, but if you start the research, there are a lot of other countries that have this issue too with mass shootings.
Okay, so here's my thing with the mass shooting business, right? Again, we use soft targets. So that's why you see mass shootings like concerts, movies, schools, churches, because you're at a place where should be peaceful.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know, you never see a mass shooting at a gun range because everybody got a gun. You will not shoot 50 people. So at this point, where people are saying that America should demilitarize the citizens, okay, I get you. But at this point, the number of guns is out of control. So what they need to do is allow everybody to protect themselves.
No, Jai.
Let it be known that we can't protect you, so protect yourself.
No, Jai. That's not true. It depends on how you pull the data. If you pull the data in a certain way, like countries like Norway lead America. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's what you're looking at, right?
My thing is, criminals are going to be criminals. So the only people who you're going to stop from going out, if somebody wants to carry out these heinous crimes, unfortunately, they're going to do it.
If somebody is going to get an illegal gun, they're going to get an illegal gun.
They're going to get an illegal gun. They're going to get it. Yeah,
so allow your citizens to protect themselves because you can't protect them.
You can't protect them.
Right, and that's where it's at, because you have these mass shootings, you know, you could go there.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, right? Okay, if like I said, if you in a grocery store and you carry weapon, and you hear gunshots outside, and you follow the rules, because when I looked at the unfortunate video, people were lying on the ground because they were covering, right? When really you're supposed to hide, and then in the final event, run, hide, fight. I rather, if I'm fighting, I got a gun to fight. Because at least I'm going to run, I'm going to hide, and then I am going to pose up right? Because there's training for these kind of situations as well, where civilians can be trained if there's an active shooter, and you could disarm the person quickly. You know, you might get 1 or 2 casualty, but you know, okay, like you said, Reese, it's a soft target. Let them walk into a gun store where the most guns are and try that.
Listen, let me show you something, right? Somebody came to me this conversation a few days ago, speaking about the mass shooting in El Paso, Texas. Right? There was a shooting down there, and they said, "Oh, well, Texas, you carry that." I said, "Listen, there's a reason I went to El Paso, yeah." And they didn't just go to El Paso; they went to a Latino neighborhood. You know why they went to a Latino neighborhood, Ira? Because most of them illegal, so they can't have a legal firearm. And those who are legal trying to save money to make a better life, so they ain't thinking about buying a gun. It's a soft target. You know where you don't see mass shootings? In no hood. You know why? Because everybody in the hood got a gun. Ain't gonna mass shooting, and you got a lot of people, eh? So if you want to kill a lot of people, boy, you go in the hood. But you know what? In the hood, you know for a fact, man gonna shoot back at you. People who carrying out these mass shootings, they don't want to be shot. So they go after soft targets. They will never run in the hood and say, I'm gonna shoot up the hood. No, they're not. But the hood ain't got people too. You got people. They got people in the hood. They outside playing basketball, they outside playing dominoes. But you know, for a fact, if you got 4 people at the table, 3 of them got a gun. So you will not go after the individuals who you know protecting themselves. You go after soft targets. That's why your church is always going to be a target.
Yeah. Unfortunately. But, you know, people feel like the government could take away these. Let me tell you something. There is no way the government is going to take away any guns from the citizens of America. That is not going to happen. If you want a civil war, let them try that. And that is the realization that we have to come to. So we have to now look at the problem at hand.
So Chef just post, right?
Yeah.
We focus. Y'all are focused on terrorism. What about other instances? If I'm in traffic and someone cut me off, I might honk my horn at the most, but because I know I cannot fight. If I have a gun, I might feel empowered to go out and shoot. I'll tell you something, Chef. Listen to me good. Never forget this. When you have a gun, you think about 35 times before you ever think about pulling a trigger. Before you ever. You might never even you might feel like you need a canvas and start to walk away. Remember canvas and start to walk away?
A lot of people don't realize that. You know, that when you have your gun, you start to think, you don't really think, oh, I can pull my gun automatically. And there are some people who are hot-headed like that, but that is just the nature of that person. Right? That person is going to do that regardless to what. But if you have your gun, like you say, Reese, you start to think about all the training you had. Boy, if I use this...
You start to walk backwards, you start to say, I got children, but I don't want to eat oats and grits for the rest of my life, but I'm not going to feel stale bread. Forget that, boy.
Yeah,
you start to back the situation.
Exactly. If you want to
the parking spot, go ahead, you tell the parking spot, I park on the other side.
But Reese, guess you know what the thing is? You know who are going to make these assumptions? People who don't own weapons. Because they don't own them. They're gonna tell somebody who own a weapon, oh, what if you get what I'm saying? They're in the what if, but they're talking to somebody who own a weapon and would tell them, actually, no, it doesn't work like that. You actually probably start to think in more cases, you know, if you see a threat, you could pull your weapon. You know, just get up and decide by IVEX, so I can shoot somebody.
I'll tell you what it is. For somebody who legally owns a firearm, it is easier for you to go to jail than if you don't legally own a firearm. If If you own an illegal firearm, you ain't got nothing to lose because the police catch you with it, either way you go in jail. But if you own a legal firearm, you can't just pull your weapon just so. You could go jail for that. Like brandy, you can't brandish your weapon. You can't just lift up your shot and somebody got a gun. You can't trust somebody to shoot them. You just start with it, but you know what? These situations ain't even important. You could just go by this restaurant over here, go cool off. You start to think differently.
Okay, hold on. So Simone said just last Friday afternoon, a black pastor was shot, in a road rage. Okay, so when you start to look at the story on the top, it's so like, oh, gun is a problem. Now, here's the thing. The person that shoot the pastor, did they own did they own that weapon legally? That's a question. Second thing too, did the pastor have a gun? So when he saw the gun pull on him, what was he able to do? Because if you got a roadway situation and you see somebody getting antsy and you have your legal firearm, you're going to hold on to it. So when they come too close to your vehicle now and you start to feel threatened, then guess what the pastor could have do?
Let me tell you what happened. But you have a legal firearm. But you're going to watch the person and say, you know what? I could drive away.
Well, in some cases you could drive away. In some cases you can't drive away, Reese. I'm talking about if you're in a situation where you can't escape.
If it's a situation where the person cut you off and you really can't move, that's different. But if it's a situation where you can't escape, you take that road.
Yeah. I mean, I need to know the story of the pastor. Did the pastor stop there and argue with the man? Because if I got legal firearm, I am not arguing anybody. I am not arguing with anybody. Right? If they want to come up on my vehicle, yeah. If they want to come up on my vehicle, let them come up on my vehicle. You get what I'm saying? Because as soon as they come too close, I shoot in first, and that's it. You're talking like bullet does walk. You see, this is the problem. These are people who don't own no gun, no. Anyway, the next one. You can't change that. There are certain unfortunate situations that you just can't change. But here the thing is, you cannot take the guns from the people of America. You're going to have a civil war. Point blank, period.
That's not why you can't take the guns from people in America. You can't take the guns from people in America because most of them is not tracked. That's why.
Most of them what?
That's why aren't tracked.
Oh yeah, but even if they tried, Reese, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
You ain't gonna have a problem.
You hit the last topic of the night, boy.
Look how much. Let me just say this: how many people in the St. Kitts and Nevis had own weapons? Because we had a problem with guns in St. Kitts and Nevis for a very long time. Eh? How many people legally own weapons in St. Kitts and Nevis? And how many people in the St. Kitts and Nevis legally own a weapon? Have you heard was robbed?
No, but you also hear how many people that legally own a weapon they actually hear as a part of the shooting.
That as well.
The shooting they hear ain't a legal gun, yeah. Man who own gun think twice.
A lot of the times it's the emotions of the shootings and stuff. You don't hear these things. You don't hear anybody in a St. Kitts and Nevis even use their legal weapon. You hardly hear of any shooting incident in a St. Kitts and Nevis, and you feel like they don't have road rage and incidents in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm going to use a smaller population. Maybe they have less guns, but there are legal guns in St. Kitts and Nevis. How often do you hear them use their weapon?
Sure.
No, I would encourage all Americans to own a weapon. And don't come last. I'm going to tell you. Don't come last. Don't come last. But
I'm gonna go buy one.
The final one. Oi, bye. Ouch.
Bye. This one they're tough, and
bye.
This one kind of done. It done kind of tell AC John tell you he was too bad.
Remember, and say I've been not gonna right to speak on this one. But we all know what it is. Roe versus Wade. It was overturned by the Supreme Court recently. And Reese, you know what Roe versus Wade is? In 1969, there was a woman. She go by us. Her name, I forget her name, but she go by like a pseudonym of Roe, Jane Roe. It wasn't her real name. She was in Texas. She lived in Texas, and she wanted an abortion. Yeah, she was pregnant with her third child, and she wanted an abortion. But at that time, Texas had a law where you could only have an abortion if the mother's life was at risk. So she took it to court. And then, you know, the Supreme Court made a judgment. It outlined different stages of pregnancy and said, basically the end thing was women had the right to have abortion. But of recent, that Supreme Court decision was overturned by the Supreme Court. These things happen, eh? For a very long time, anti-abortion groups, they've been fighting to get that decision overturned for decades now. It's recent. It's very recent. 1974, so I think it came out. But today it's no longer there. So what is going to happen? Well, the Supreme Court no longer gives the rights to Americans. So each state now governs the right. And with that said, you know, you have some states that have certain laws. Like, you know, I guess Texas, you only could have an abortion if the mother life is in danger. You know, some states you can't even have an abortion at all. Right? Some states you could have an abortion whenever you feel like, whatever. You get what I'm saying? But, of course, there's the political aspect of it, there's the religious aspect of it, and there is the emotional aspect of it. The emotional aspect is, I think women are going through it the most, because a lot of them are of the opinion it's their body. They get the right to do whatever they want with their body. I can stick a pin in that and move on. There's the political aspect of it, because mostly when you have these kind of decisions, you see them align with the right? And you have the left side, the Democrats, who are going to say we're liberal and, you know, this is the liberal thing to do, and the Republicans, the conservatives, they're going to be like, no, this is the conservative thing to do, right? We're pro-life. And then the other part is religious, of course, where you have religion like Christianity and what's not, you know, abortions are wrong, blah, blah, blah. I could kick it off. Honestly, you know, I've had this discussion with my wife. Because I don't think it's a black and white situation. There is no case where abortions should just be no, you can't have an abortion. Now, my opinion is an abortion shouldn't be used as Planned Parenthood, right? And I think women feel like I don't have the right to speak because I'm not the one carrying that child. Wait, Reese, you're muted.
Sorry. Hold on right there. Hold on right there.
Yeah.
You just said something, and I actually feel the same way. My views on this was I don't feel no man should have had a view in this thing. I don't think no man should have had a say in this.
Okay, I could.
In my body.
I could understand that. No, let me get into why I feel like as a man I feel like I should have a right. I have a son. I love that child immensely. There is no love that I've ever felt in this world comparable to the love of a child. right? And I was a part of creating that child. Fortunately enough, right? Fortunately enough, when the doctor asks me and my wife and myself, what are our plans? Are we going to keep the child? It's a question they ask, you know. I guess they see a young black couple coming in. Are you plan to keep this child? And we were taken by it, but we were like, yeah, for sure. I can't believe that's a question. But this is a question they ask. Fortunately enough, me and my wife we were on the same page. But what if she was not on the same page? Right? What if she decided she didn't want to have that baby? We as adults are saying kids under 16 in St. Kitts and Nevis, here in the United States it's 18. You're not old enough to have sex. It is illegal for you to have sex in any capacity with anybody because you're not mentally ready for what sex brings. Now, as an adult, when you decide you're going to have sex and you decide you're going to have unprotected sex, right? You know there is a possibility that you could get pregnant. The other thing is, pregnancy is not as easy as one make you believe. There is a very short window in which a woman could get pregnant. And not only that, it also takes a lot for that baby and that pregnancy to be viable. So after you had your night of fun, we can get into that, Simone. After you have your night of fun, and you realize, boy, my partner ejaculated inside of me, I can be pregnant. That is where you should make whatever decision you need to make, then and there. Now, if you tell me America made it easier for you to have an abortion than for you to have the morning after pill, those are some of the things that we need to talk about. A woman should have the right, it should be that easy for them to go and say, I need a morning after pill, I can't afford it, it's probably cheaper than an abortion, let me take a morning after pill. Now, Simone, when you bring up stuff like rape, I feel like if a woman was raped and she go to the hospital right then and there, give her the morning after pill. Not only that, she continuously check, because if she is pregnant and she decides she doesn't want to have the baby, then yes, I think she should have the right to abort that baby, because guess what? A baby should be brought into this world with love. I know the Bible tells us children are created with sin and iniquity, but no, it's love create children. Love. It's pure love create my son. Right? My son is the embodiment of love. And that's why it's called love making. So a woman should have the right to have abortion in some cases. But when a woman decides, me want no children, I had sex and I messed up and I don't want a kid, and they use it as a form of birth control, that is where it now falls out of the realm of it. It's not just your body, it is also a life. Each of us are here because we were fortunate enough that our mothers didn't decide to abort us. Let that sink in. It was your mother's body and she could have aborted you. And she could have said, you know what? Life can be too hard. I don't want this child. Ira might not have been in existence. Reese might not have been in existence. Adele, only because your name is on. Adele might not have been in existence. Just because. Right? And we don't know who we're aborting. Because I'm pretty sure there are enough stories out there where a child was almost aborted. But if you look at that child right now, it might be your senator. Well, you know the politicians, them. But it might be Elon Musk. Well, he probably could have do with an abortion. But it might have been anybody. You get what I'm saying? Now, when there is the case where a child might, when you're going through a pregnancy, you realize this child is not going to survive. This child is not going to have the best life. I don't think the quality of life that this fetus has, because of the way that it's developing, we should probably terminate the pregnancy early. Then that's another case. A woman should have the right to do that as well. But then the whole idea is that a man don't have a say, but yet still is expected to support, love, care for, and be there for that child. It is kind of, what word can I use here? I don't want to use hypocritical, but it's almost like, okay, if I want to have this child, you have to pay for this child. But if I don't want to have this child, then you have the hook. But if I have this child and you don't want to have the child, and you don't support the child, you're a deadbeat father. You get what I'm saying? Two people it takes to raise a children, and we need to stop raising kids in single homes. And I feel like that is a part of it. So for me, abortion is not black and white, right? And it's not that the Supreme Court is telling people what to do with their bodies. The Supreme Court is actually saying, we ain't telling nobody anything. And you know who have the power now? The people. Because states now, like Arkansas, I guess, who still have abortion laws, now the people could go and tell the governor, well, you need to change this law. You need to change this law. The people need to go and tell Arkansas governors and them. And now DeSantis say he want to make moves and so in Florida. No, Florida need to tell DeSantis no, if they don't want it. But then if the people of the state is saying, yeah, this is how we feel, then that is probably a state you don't want to live in, if you don't agree with it. Because apparently you're in the minority, and the way how the majority of people are thinking, your thoughts do not align with them. So it might be a good idea that you move from that state. And it is like that. Because we, as we have discussed, we are the employers of these politicians, the ones that are making the policies. So when we complain about states and so, and governors, when they decide they want to make a change, you need to tell this man no, you can't make that change. If the majority of the people say no, guess what he ain't do? He ain't cool out. You remember Vance could have been the prime minister, you know, but his supporters tell he don't join up with Labour, eh? Prime minister, the man could have said, big man, I know better. Maybe the prime minister is the best thing that could happen to Nevis. I can join up with that, but no, he listened to his supporters. The men can equally protect themselves too. Most times they don't. Well, yeah, a man could put on a condom, yeah, whatever the case may be. But sometimes women will be like allergic to latex or whatever the case may be. Honestly, you don't feel as good, so nobody want to hear them kind of talk there. Really and truly, you're really supposed to have sex with people that you care for. And if a child come into the world, you're supposed to feel it, filled with joy that you're having a baby. It's all this promiscuous sexual relations that we are having is why we're ending up in these kind of conversation. You know what I mean? When a woman wants to look at a fetus, and that fetus has a heartbeat, and start to farm and then tell me that is not a life, and then say, because it's my body, I could kill this. Where does that life that is within that fetus have a right? When do we start to give the fetus a right? Is the question. Because it wasn't the fetus's idea to be here. It was the big people who decide by this is sweet. And sometimes the woman end up hold on by you too when your chair pull out. And then when the reality hit them now, it's like, oh no, I don't want to have a baby. But there are cases where abortion, I think, is viable. Rape. The woman's life is in danger. Pieces. Like your child may not have the best life, but just to use it as a Planned Parenthood method, come on, man. I wonder how. I can't even think about it.
Okay. Now that we've gotten over the emotional air attack, I have been on both sides of this situations. I will tell you something. We may say that it's not. You may say you disagree with it, but there's times when it is actually needed. Like you said, if an individual know that they're in a position where they cannot take care of a child, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? Sometimes you might have had a one good night, but you know you didn't plan for your night to end the way it ended, and then you say, "Boy, I'm not ready for that." You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying, but yeah, sometimes that abortion is needed.
Reese, you never give a woman a man in after pill.
This was not about my life, but
I'm just asking you this question.
Yeah, at one point I used to get him stuck up for wild wheels.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You don't think that's a much easier route than having an abortion?
You ever run into somebody you never see them again?
Why?
I have run into somebody and me never see again, yeah.
And when I'm back,
I hear say, why everybody?
That's the problem.
As would you say, circumstances maybe what I am.
And when they find you and you go pay the back child support. Oh Lord.
Out there start to pray, and then we start to say, "Can I heal me?" and thing, and that happened.
Yeah.
My only thing is that I feel that when the ruling came down, I feel that the males should let the female make the decision. I don't think that the man should have had a say in that decision. With that being said,
no, a woman can't make a child by herself, you know.
But
a woman, yes, they carry the baby, but they can't make the child by themselves.
You ever had an abortion? No, I actually physically had an abortion. No, because man can have abortion, but women have abortion, right? And it's a painful experience.
How you know? You've had one? You've had one?
No, but I've had a full description. Trust me, it's a very painful experience.
It's a painful experience, yeah.
That's the decision she got made for she body. Because if she made the decision, she got to the pain. Yeah.
She does.
Right? When she got for first consultation, because they don't do what you call it, ultrasound before you go through the process, right? And she heard the first heartbeat. She didn't have a decision to make.
But guess what? As Joy had pointed out earlier, abortion is illegal, and I think it's a nevis, you know.
By that hard, you know, because when they illegal, you know, when they pill hard to get to you.
Oh my gosh.
But I listen, they pill hard to you.
Abortion is not just a pill, eh? In some cases, I think there's that pill that they talk about. Never seen it before.
But them pill hard to you, them pill hard like slavery, and them pill hard to come by you. But, you know.
But there are some concerns, eh? There are some real concerns. I mean, like DNCs and certain things that are considered abortions and them kind of stuff there. I think the morning after is 50 plus.
50?
Not that pill. Adele, please do not confuse the morning after pill with the pill where Reese talk about mine. The pill that Reese is talking about is not a pill that is supposed to be sold.
Is the one what I got in St. Nevis. Boy, that they hard to find.
I think they give it to you when they're preparing you for like DNCs and that kind of stuff here in the States.
I had a partner of mine when Rick Forte was a partner of mine, and $120 something he paid for 1 year. Boy, and people had to come by. And you know that happens again.
See, Love Dread asks, what if a man want to have an abortion? A man can't have an abortion. A man cannot have an abortion.
And this
is where I would say a man can't make this decision because they can't have an abortion.
But listen to me. If a man go to a female and ask for an abortion, and she said no, he put it out why he cannot take care of this baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should he say before to child support?
Yeah. I think
even though he make it known why he can't do it.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
And he can't on the table.
Mm-hmm.
That they have.
Yes, Adele, that pill. Yes.
But Adele pill hard to come by.
You know how to come by. It's because you're not supposed to have it, Reese. People get it for certain circumstances. But yeah, it's a touchy one. I just don't like the argument. It's my body, right? Because at some point in time there is a life inside of you, and it's almost like we don't have any respect for life anymore. Because I saw a picture where a woman, she looked like she was about in she late second trimester, and she had a drain, and she was like, and she belly, she had like not a human. And I'm like, wow. This is how they feel. This is not a human. The fetus with the heartbeat, at some point they could start hear your voice. At some point they could start react to you. And it's not a human.
I tell you,
it's wild.
It's different.
It's wild.
It's different because I'll tell you. When you ever sitting on one of them consultation?
Wow.
When they do the first ultrasound?
Yeah. Of course. I got you.
Me talking about that kind of consultation that I'm waiting for the abortion.
No. I've never been involved in an abortion.
So when you go in there, so right, they have therapists and suffering.
Huh?
When you go in there, so they have therapists and suffering to talk to and say, yeah, to make sure that you're the right mental space and all these things that they have on there. So if the woman went to all that, they just went to therapy, she speak to a nurse, and she said she wanted to do it.
Tom Collins, the Supreme Court, we must say, the Supreme Court was the same court that introduced the whole ruling Roe versus Wade, you know. So they made a decision based, you see, if we could look at it in one direction, we have to look at it in the other direction. The Supreme Court made a decision that allow women to have abortion. They're the ones that made that decision back in 1970 whatever. But in that time, they were like, a woman could do what they want in America. If they want to have an abortion, the state cannot tell you can't have an abortion. The Supreme Court, for whatever political reason, has, and I think it's politics, I ain't going to tell a lie, everything is politics, has decided to go against that decision that was made and overturn it. So the Supreme Court, again, is involved. The Supreme Court said this in the first instance. Now they're saying this. It's always been the Supreme Court telling a woman what they could do with their body. They gave the woman the ability to say, if I want to have an abortion, they could have an abortion. Now they're saying, well, go deal with your senator, go deal with your governors, go deal with your lawmakers on your state level and make them change the law. Because if we as a people decide, I live in Arkansas, I live in Texas, and I don't like this law, I'm going to start a petition to get my governor to realize that the majority of the people who is going to vote in the next election doesn't want this law. So guess what the governor would have to do? Change it. This is where the people got to understand. Stop making noise. Stop complaining on the internet. Activate. Start to make changes. If you want to make a difference, then make the governors, make the lawmakers make the change. That's why you got these, you don't see these petitions floating around, and you ever wonder what these petitions good for. Like, what these signature going to do? What these signature going to do? What those signatures actually do, right, is that it let the people them who in charge now get an idea just how many people ought they support a particular topic. So if you create a signature petition, the way how laws are made in America, you could go to your governor, you could go to your host representative and your senators to pass a bill, to create a bill, to lobby a bill. We could actually do things. The Supreme Court actually saying we don't want to be a part of this decision. That's what they're saying. All they're saying is we ain't a part of the decision. We want to take back that idea that we said that women have the right, and make the people them now mobilize. The people them need to mobilize. Because if the majority of America feel like women should have the right to have an abortion in every state, it could happen. Then I need the Supreme Court for that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's
people
what
could vote for that.
They need to mobilize because you need abortion in every state. Yeah.
Yeah. Let the states, let the people, because Reese, this is how it is, right? Everybody has their opinion, you know. Everybody has their opinion. But there are actually some people. Oh, okay, so some people might be like, by now, abortion, a woman should have the right to have an abortion. But there are some people out there, no abortion. And they feel just as convicted as the person that's saying, no, a woman should have abortion. So when you look at now a state and you think about maybe a state like Texas, you might live in Texas and think, because I feel this way, the majority of Texans feel this way. Now, is it fair that you are now saying to the majority of Texans, this is how I feel, so this is what you need to do? No. Let the majority of Texans, let the people who are making the laws, show them this is how we feel. These things supposed to, we could vote for these things, man. They ain't think it's a Nevis. Funny, because as of Friday, abortion clinics throughout the US closed. So it is the Supreme Court decision. They closed because they're not got no business, and they didn't close all over. They closed in certain states. You're picking and choosing what you want to talk about. Because the way how you speak, Tom Collins, is like all abortion clinics in America close. So because the Supreme Court decision, no. Supreme Court might have closed some abortion clinics in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, however many states. It's not even the majority of America thinks that way. Right? Why can't we as a people realize this is a democracy? I thought they have a 16-week period to do it, not that it banished. So I remember the decision was in the first, that's the thing, they didn't banish anything. When you look at the decision of Wade versus Roe, the Supreme Court said in the first trimester, the court has no ruling, and you can't tell somebody if they could have an abortion. So, only thing is that they need to have a licensed doctor to do it. The ruling is there. People need to understand what the ruling was and what has been overturned. But because of the politics, and we're listening to it from the top, we're listening to the horror stories of certain pregnancies that you need to have an abortion for, and if you're in a state you can't have an abortion, so you're gonna die. These are the kind of states that you really need to have them change the laws, because there's nowhere a woman should die because she has a pregnancy. What do you call it? Beginning with an E type pregnancy. You get what I'm saying? And the woman's life is in danger. So you think a state is going to let you I don't understand. How can a state watch a woman die knowing that an abortion would save her life? That sounds like a lawsuit to me. That sounds like a big lawsuit to me. So I think we need to wait and see what is really going to be the outcome of the overturn. Some states had a trigger clause so that as soon as that's what happened, it made it illegal, like Arkansas and so on. Only some states. It's not a lot of states where it's not like abortion is illegal in America. You know, you would think abortion is illegal in America, but it's not. It's just unfortunate that if you live in one state and it became illegal there, and you need to have an abortion, you may have to go to another state that might be on your border to have that abortion. Now, some companies are now offering money. Like, I forgot what company it was, is giving their employees $4,000 if they want to have an abortion. Imagine that. Imagine that. If they live in a state that abortion is illegal, I forget which company it was, right? Oh, it was Dick's. I think it's Dick's Sporting Good. They're going to give that employee $4,000 so that they could go have an abortion in another state, in the next closest state.
You said Dick's?
Dick's Sporting Good.
Dick's is having abortions?
Dick's, yeah, Richards then.
Dick's,
yeah. Imagine that.
Interesting.
No pun intended on that one, But I mean, this is what we gotta realize, right? They can't bring her back when it done happen, and with the sensationalization, that is what happened. Yeah, I mean, in honesty, I'm not saying the decision of the Supreme Court is right. I'm not saying that it is wrong. I am saying that people now need to activate. People now need to realize when the Supreme Court have this power, we now need to take that matter in our hands and give ourselves the power, because we now need to make these laws that are problems to us where we live and have them change them. And that's what you vote for. Because you realize the Supreme Court could just change it in the blink of an eye. And we give the Supreme Court the power. We're the ones who are giving the Supreme Court the power in that aspect over women's body. Because if the people of Arkansas decide, no, we want to have abortions, they could be able to get the governors or whoever make the law, handle this law. Because it's the sentence, me here say he ain't going to do some things or whatever. But then when you got people that stand up on stage and talk about big up for white life and so, big move, that's a problem. But this is what I'm saying.
I don't mind these changes now because I live a different life. But back then, when I was younger, wild and free, these changes would have hampered my life,
Yeah.
So, I like the change.
Reese, you're killing me. Okay, like Chef pointed out, there are states that had laws. So as soon as the Supreme Court closed down, it triggered. Why these people, you see, they relied on, the Supreme Court is protecting us. They should have been working to get rid of that law there long time. That law should be removed off the book. There are other laws that need to be removed off the book. It's not that easy. If a state is Republican control, well, abortion is illegal. That is not a fact. It's not every Republican state abortion is illegal. Abortions are not illegal here in Florida. Abortions are not illegal in Texas either. You could have an abortion, but
that's true. Yes, it's true that that's
right?
legal in Florida.
Abortions are not legal here in Florida, and abortions are not illegal in Texas. But there are rules, there are circumstances when you're allowed to have an abortion. Like in Texas, you could only have an abortion, I guess, when the woman's life is in danger. Now I think that is a problem because, like I said, sometimes the baby himself might be compromised, and as a mother you might want to go through the pregnancy, right? Because it's just not viable. But remember, the woman that changed this all only wanted to have an abortion because she was having her third child. I haven't seen any indication that there was a complication with the pregnancy or anything. Well, yeah, DeSantis said he's rewriting the abortion law as we speak. But let me see what he come out with, right? Because he might rewrite it, and what happens? He might waste his time because the people of Florida might say no. You see what I'm saying? DeSantis is doing that because he's trying to be the radical 2024 candidate. He don't know who he trying to get elected by, you know? Because there are a good amount of people in America who wants abortion laws. You see, Reese, this is what I'm telling you. This is why I started out with. There is politics, there's religion, and there's emotions. And once you start to talk about abortion, you just got to start to talk about left and right. And a lot of the times, you find people are not really in the opinion, oh, I really feel this way towards it. It's more of, oh, I'm a Democrat and this is how we think. So politically, this is where we stand when it comes to abortion. And that is a problem. That's subjective. Her life could be in danger from abusive ex if she doesn't terminate. That can open a door for discrimination when minority women don't get adequate prenatal care.
Interesting as well.
And that is a problem. And this is where I'm saying, women, if the majority of you all have an issue with it, we need to stop arguing on the internet. Is that the way how we really make changes now for real social media cussing? We need to go out there and say, look, we need to find, how do we get these states to change their law? DeSantis decided he want to change it here in Florida. Where's the people who are for abortion rights, abortion in Florida? What are they doing? Cussing on the internet against the Supreme Court? The decision on overturn. No, we need to be more solution oriented and find a way to deal with it and combat it and eradicate the problem, because the Supreme Court could in the next 10 years reinstate this decision and then 10 years after overturn it again, but you still gonna have a problem on the local level. So where we at? Alright, Reese, I think we've gone way longer than we expected.
We pass our plan from what everyone.
Way longer.
For a good conversation. But I'll tell you something, even though we started this show with it, I think I want to end the show with it as well. I just say condolences to the family of Kevin Levert.
Condolences.
His passing, his untimely demise. A big supporter of big time supporter of Real Talk. Even before we had it this way, when we used to just be together and have interviews on the phone and stuff like that, So he was a big time supporter. So From all of us here at Real Entertainment Network, and I would like to send condolences to his family, his father, Mr. Joseph Levert, Brother UT, and the rest of the circle, you know. It's tough. It's tough.
And I want to echo that as well. You know what I mean? I was hoping that one day we would have had Trevi on this show talking about him running, you know? Running in Gingerland, but we only smile, man.
Didn't come to it, you know. Didn't come to it, man.
He was a good guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Respect to him.
with that being said, thank you to everybody who viewed the show today, being here with us. I really appreciate it. As we know that elections are around the corner, so we will be having more shows focusing on that. But I think tonight, I think it's best let Trevi take us up, man.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Let's go out with Trevi tonight.
Before I roll out, just remember the topic should be back tomorrow night. You know what I mean? So join the topics tomorrow night. And with that, rest in peace, Trevi, boy.
Rest in peace, boy. Peace.
Still can't believe.
Network.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN. We got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talking.
Iron Reese.
Dynamic duo.
Talk is still real. We still on the corner.
Real talk
We
corner.
gonna touch on some topics.